To order. At this time, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could remain standing for the invocation. Thank you, God, for bringing us here safely tonight. Please give us the guidance and the wisdom to make the right decisions for our community. In this we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
May we have a roll call, please?
Present.
Here.
Yes.
Present.
Present. Item 5, communications from staff. We have our Public Works Director here tonight. Anything, Ernie? Ernie.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I just wanted to give you a brief update on our Harold Densmore Park project. We've completed the installation of the sprinkler system, so that's been done. Right now, presently, we are spraying all the new growth, the new weeds that came up, so we can kill those off. Next week, we'll go in there and disc it and try to level it as best we can, and then the following week we'll go in and do the hydro seeding.
Great.
So we're moving along really well with that.
Great. Thank you, Ernie.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Item 6, these are items from the public. These are not agenda items. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings, it would be appreciated if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the Council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Tom?
Tom Applegate, 1301 Blue Teal Way. I've been receiving many calls over the past 2 years. So tonight I'm representing many citizens that have called to complaint about tartaric, the smell emanating from the plant, and the lack of landscaping. Have any of you on the council ever contacted the County Planning Commission personally? Our County Board of Supervisors, our Supervisor Paul Caruso, the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District, the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board, our state assemblyman, our state senator? You are elected by the citizens of Newman to represent and protect us. What have any of you done to alleviate the problem? What do you intend to do? I suggest that we have a town meeting with all of the above in attendance to find out what is being done. Many people have suggested that we have the town meeting. We already have a bad reputation because of the smell. Some people won't move here and some have left. Many people gag, have to close windows, can't barbecue outdoors, get sick. Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, I had to get up because it woke me up and close my windows so I could go, go about my business. I don't know if you read today's firing line. There's 3 more articles in there. There have been numerous articles in the firing line. I urge people to call or write the city council, your city council, and the city manager, Cleve Morris, and make your complaints known. Otherwise, we'll never get anything done. It is about time our council takes a stand and does something about it. And don't say it's the county's problem, it's our problem. When this first thing started 2 years ago, when they first built the plant, the previous city manager wrote a letter to the city council outlining all of the things that should have been checked into. However, the city council overlooked it and gave their approval. That was not right. So therefore, you have to correct this problem. And it's your problem just as much as it is the county's. Because we live here and we want to have a nice, clean town to live in and not put up with the smell. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Tom. Cleve, you were going to mention something under items from the city manager with regards to a meeting with Tarek, but since we're talking about this, it might be appropriate if you would mind mentioning it now.
Okay. Just briefly, I've been discussing this quite a bit with the county officials. I've met with Paul Caruso informally 2 or 3 times just in the last couple of weeks. I've also met with some other people. I've talked to Ray Simon on the Board of Supervisors. I've been trying to talk to Regan Wilson, haven't been able to get in touch with him yet, but we are working on that. We do have a meeting set up next week to review what our options are, because obviously we are frustrated, as the citizens are, that we meet with the people, they give us a timeline of things that they're doing to clean up, and it doesn't seem to be getting cleaned up. There's been a real lack of communication coming from the tartaric plant on what exactly is going on, and they don't get back with us on that. So what we are meeting about next week is to discuss as public officials what our options are to make sure, and I've made it clear to the people that I've talked to that this city will not go through another season of tartaric. And so that's what our bottom line has to determine what our options are to make sure that we don't have to go through another season of the odors from tartaric. So that's where we're at right now. I didn't prepare a formal report to you for tonight because of the fact that we are meeting next week, and I felt that I would have more complete information to give you at that time, at our next meeting. So.
Okay, something that needs to be done, though, is the city council has to let the people know that you're behind what is going on. Because I get questions all the time. What's the council doing about it? Are they doing anything? You have to let the people know, get their support.
Tom, and one of the things that in talking to, I had a chance to talk to our supervisor Wednesday night, was one of the things that I expressed to him was our frustration as far as lack of information that not only are we getting from the county, but also from the operators of the business out there. And one of the things that we hope to discuss on the meeting of, next Wednesday, is to get a specific timeline as far as what they plan on doing as far as installing machinery and equipment that they need to, and specifically so we could let our citizens know what's going on, because unfortunately they haven't been very forthcoming with us, and as we all know, that they've received numerous fines, and we're hoping to get specific details at this meeting, and I had mentioned to Cleve was that we're hoping to at least give them some specific deadline before we ask the Regional Water Quality Control Board to take further action. We're hoping something will come out of this meeting, and we'll let the citizens know.
But that's what we've been hearing for the last year, a timeline. We keep saying a timeline. There isn't any. There never has been. And that's what everybody's upset about. We're at the end. We want to see the place shut down. We've already told the water quality control and air quality. Air quality has already said that anytime they get a smell out here, they're going to go find them from now on. Water quality control out of Sacramento is working on another program. I talk to these people all the time, and I know what's happening and what isn't happening. What isn't happening is that we're not getting any action out of here. And except for Cleve. Cleve has I think he's done a superb job. But we need a council behind us. The city's ready to go. There'll be an article in the paper on the Firing Line on Tuesday. Carol Robertson and myself have stated that anybody interested, call us and we'll form a committee. We've already got about 20 people, and the letter hasn't even been in the paper. So we're going to form the committee and take our action. There's also people in town, substantial people, that have, if nothing's done by June, they're going to take court action. And this will be done, because I know the people that are involved.
Okay.
So, but see, we want to petition the whole city. And, if you guys don't do anything about it and get something done, we're going to go petition the entire city and then present it to the proper people. But you got to let the people know that you're behind us. That's our problem. They keep asking me, what's the council doing? In the day's paper, what's the council doing about it?
Can I make a comment? I many times have given the phone number to the Newman City Council line, the City Hall number, which is 862-3725. My extension number is 55, and I have never heard, I haven't even gotten one voicemail message, period, in the few months that I've been serving on this, and I don't know if any other council members have heard. Honestly, I live over in that subdivision, and I smell tartaric, and I have made calls to the numbers, but I got to tell you, I have never heard one other person that knows that I'm on the city council make a comment to me about it, even though I know the smell is there. And if people in Newman think that the firing line is the way to communicate with the city council, I don't always get a chance to read that. I try to read it when I get a chance. I don't always do it. You need to voice your concerns to the city council, and don't rely on...
But you still know that the problem's there.
I know of it, and I've just started smelling it like in the past 5-6 months.
But we've been doing it for 2 years.
And you're right, and I'm newly elected, and I know I've lived here 2 years, but I've lived here more than 2 years, but I've just started smelling it. But I'm willing to help, and I know the other council members are. We need to also have feedback from the people. They need to contact us
Well, I think the contact,
through
first of all,
normal means.
I
Right
got,
now that I'm a new council member, I'm telling you that while I've been serving on this committee for just a few months now, I have not had one person communicate with me. Have you, Dave?
No.
I've
okay,
not had
what
one
would you do if
person
you got
voice their
2,000
concerns.
petitions?
I would do everything I
I can get that,
I'd
well,
look into
why
it.
wait, why do you have to wait when you know the problem's here? Cleve knows it's here, he knows it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there and say, I'm not gonna do anything until you call me.
I'm not saying
That's what it
that,
sounded
Tom.
like.
That's not what I'm
Well,
saying. I'm
no,
saying that
Rob.
I have not put anything on the agenda
Yeah.
myself because I had not known that the problem was that big. I've never heard anything mentioned, and I'm sure that Cleve and our mayor are doing what they can. If you don't hear anything mentioned at a council meeting, it's only because they themselves have not heard anything.
But the press has had numerous articles about this whole thing over the past 2 years. It's been in the paper. You had to know about it.
Well, that may be
But,
true.
but anyhow,
Not
yeah, I
while
don't want
was
to sit here and
council
argue the
person.
No,
point.
that's-
But the thing is, air quality control has had hundreds of complaints. Hundreds. I put an article in the West Side Index, and I got 92 responses. So I can bring those to you. And I can bring all the other complaints that you have from air quality control and bring those to you. If that's what you want, I can do it.
So what's the next step
I
now?
think the key is, and we don't need to discuss this because this isn't an agenda item.
no, I understand.
The key is we have a meeting set up. I have committed to the council that I will bring a report back, and I have that scheduled for our next meeting, after I have a chance to meet with all the officials and decide exactly what tactic we do take. I agree with you, Tom, and what we're looking at is, I won't go as far as to agree with you to say that we definitely need to close them down right now. I need to look at what the options are. I'm not convinced that it can't be done because I've talked to people that have said that it can be done, that can be a business that can work and not have the odors. Now, my concern is the same as yours. Can they do it before this next season opens up?
Right.
And if I can't be assured of that, then I will agree with you at that point that
Well, I have
other
maintained
actions
all
can be
along that I don't want to close them down if they can get rid of the smell. But if they can't get rid of the smell, then I want to close them down.
Yeah.
I think that's what most of the people agree with.
Right.
Right.
So-
Okay.
Tom,
I
it's,
agree.
it's very unfortunate that I'm hearing from you that the community feels we're not doing anything. We should do a better
Well, I'm
job
just
of
going by
letting
what
them
they
know
tell me.
that we are doing it. It's certainly been a concern, and Mayor Marquez mentioned it at our last council meeting that, we've got to continue to put the pressure on Tatari to clean up their act. And I know that our city manager has been working diligently on that. It's unfortunately that we haven't been able to communicate that to the
Yeah.
community. But I'm glad you brought it up. But please know that it's not a forgotten thing. And every time I drive by there and see that mess out there, it's not just the smell.
I know, it's the landscaping too. It's
condition
a
of the
horrible
property.
looking place.
Tom, one last thing on that is if there's anything good out of this meeting on Wednesday is the fact that they're actually going to come here. We've met in the past with them. Unfortunately, it's been in Modesto, so at least at this point they're willing to come out
Yeah,
here
well, if you
and
could
go.
let me know, because,
Right.
see, everybody calls me, because I've been at this I started the whole thing 2 years ago.
Encourage him to
And
call us.
everybody calls me.
Yeah,
And
and
I put the article in the paper last week about the numbers, and they want letters going to this Carlton in Sacramento and everything else.
But
I would
we're
encourage
not
him-
ignoring the articles in the paper, believe me.
Right.
We're not.
I would encourage them to attend our next city council meeting, which
But-
will be, help me with the date, Judy, 11th, May 11th.
Okay,
May
well then
11th,
I'll
and
write
there'll
an
be a
article
report.
to
We
the
will have
firing
a-
line, because they don't read the letters to the editor.
And
They
we'll
just
have it
read
on the
firing line.
agenda.
Yeah,
Well,
stop and think about it.
Everybody reads the firing line and,
Yeah, I know. If I put a letter to the editor, they never see it.
Well, the problem with the firing line is you don't know, how are you going to get back to the person that's making
Well,
the
that's,
complaint?
see, I wrote in my letter that this person phoned in and said, we ought to have meetings. So I wrote the letter, I said, somebody phoned in and said we ought to have meetings, but who are you? What's your name and phone number?
yeah,
Okay.
you should be proud enough to put your name down.
Yeah, well, I put my name on this one.
I know.
So,
I know you do,
All right.
Tom.
so thanks.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Again, I'd just like to encourage the citizens of Newman. If you have any concerns, please contact us. Each one of us have a voicemail that you can leave a message on if you don't want to come to the meetings. And please communicate with us, and we'd be happy to answer any questions
Call me
that
at
you may
home.
have. Exactly.
And just to remind the citizens at home, we are meeting with them on Wednesday, May 5th, and we will have this matter on the agenda at the next meeting on May 11th. Okay. Items from the public. These are agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time the item is announced by the mayor. In order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the council would be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor and council grants a longer period of time. Are there any items from the public on agenda items? Seeing none at this time. Item 7A, these are public hearings. This is an ordinance number 99-16, amending Title 5 of the Newman Municipal Code dealing with mobile vendors. Cleve?
Nothing further to report on this. This was introduced at your last meeting. This is the second reading and adoption of this. Unless there are any questions, I don't have a further report to give on this.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. If there are any questions on this matter, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council for comment and direction. Any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Can we have some action on this, please?
I move adoption of ordinance number 99, next number, an ordinance amending the Title 5 zoning ordinance of the Newman Municipal Code mobile vendors. Second reading and adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item number 8, this is a consent calendar. Item A is approval of warrants. Item B is approval of minutes of the April 13th special meeting and the April 13th regular meeting. If there are no questions, can we have some direction?
Move adoption of the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 9, this is regular business. 9A, resolution number 99 next to number. A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the city of Modesto to provide right-of-way services. Cleve?
As mentioned to the City Council previously in closed session, you know that we discussed several property negotiation items, and I discussed this previously with Council the opportunity to enter into this agreement to get some basically consulting services on making these property negotiations go through correctly. So I am recommending that we adopt this agreement, or adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. The costs, as you can see here, are $50 per hour plus expenses. Any costs that are will be associated with a specific project and come out of that project cost, and will be paid for. All of the projects that we are looking at are basically redevelopment projects, so most of that money would be involved with our redevelopment funds.
Any questions for Cleve? Okay, can we have some direction?
I make a motion we adopt resolution number 99, next number, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the city of Modesto to provide right-of-way services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 9B, this is a review and approval of the Newman Rotary Club entry sign project. Cleve?
Okay. Our police chief, Mike Brady, who is a member of the Rotary Club, has actually been handling this. He was unable to attend our meeting, had a previous commitment for tonight. And so he asked me to handle this. You can see the design. This has gone to architectural review. He states in here that there are some things that we were looking at, an agreement to make sure that the sign is maintained and taken care of once we have it, and that everything works out that way. So with that, we're recommending approval of this design for the entry sign for service clubs and churches.
Okay. Are there any questions for Cleve? Cleve, I just have one quick question. I noticed here on the staff report that it says that the entry sign projects will be at both entrances of the Welcome to Newman signs.
Correct.
I know one of the things that we've talked about, I know we've talked several years ago about it, and unfortunately it hasn't been done, is regard to the south entry of the Welcome to Newman. I know that the north entry looks very nice, but I know we've talked about the south entry in the past, and with the budget coming up, that's one of the things I'm going to ask, is that we ask our public works director to go out and maybe look at getting some costs for doing the improvements out on the south entry and bringing it back to us. Okay. That way we could get that done this year.
We can take a look at it. One of the obstacles, as I understand it, to that site down there is the lack of water. Is that correct, Ernie? That we do have water in the north site, and makes it look quite a bit nicer because of that, but there may be some things that we can do without water, so.
That's one of the biggest problems that we've had, we do have out in the South Park, is that we can't make any real improvements. We have lack of water and lack of electricity. So we really can't do much with it. And so what we try to do is kind of give it a desert scene and put in some of that gravel and rocks and junipers or plants of that type.
So there's nothing we could do to make it look
Well,
nicer?
We can take a look at it and see if there may be some things that can be done to clean it up, but I wouldn't propose that we go to the cost of running water and electricity to that,
Right.
at least not right now. Now, there are some, as you know, there's a proposed annexation down in that area,
Right.
and as that happens, the possibility of water lines being run down there become more real, and at that time it may become more feasible for us to look at that.
Okay.
And if there's minimal lighting involved, you might consider some sort of solar alternative too, you know, one that would charge during the day and then run all night.
Can we do something with regards to those weeds out there?
We have sprayed those, but I haven't looked at the condition
Okay.
of the area lately.
Okay.
But that's what we try to do on a regular basis. However, everybody's been busy over on the
Right.
other park
Right.
area.
Okay. Well, this is something that I'd definitely like to keep in mind once, like you say, once we do the annexation, that possibly we may look at that, because that would certainly, you know, looking at the way the north entry looks, it looks very nice. And if we could at some point get that, because this drawing here with regards to the service clubs, that'll go a long ways. That's gonna look very nice. And I'd also like to, if there are there any other questions? I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for all their good work in doing this. I know we talked about it. I think it was at their 50th anniversary that they had for Rotary, and I know this is a long time in coming, but on behalf of the council, I want to thank the Rotary Club for all their good work in this. If there are no other questions, can we have some direction on this, please?
I move approval of the Newman Rotary Club entry sign project, excuse me.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item number 10, these are items from the city manager.
You already have my Tataric report. I don't have anything to add on that one. The other item that I just want to mention to you quickly is the Leprino project. The plant has actually sold now. The new owners have taken that over. They are currently working on the conditional use permit, and as I understand it, they have contracts to basically use the entire plant now with different businesses that they'll be working with. And also, as I understand it, they will be using almost the full wastewater capacity also that the former Leprino plant was using. So that's good news. We're hoping, we don't have numbers as far as details of the companies and the number of jobs and things like that, but it will be good to have that back open, and that should be happening soon. They're working on the conditional use permit, as I mentioned. That will have to go through the process and be approved, but it looks like the puzzle pieces are in place to make that work now. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Martina?
Just to thank Ernie again for the work out Desmondport Park. Looks really good. Yeah, I'm always complaining, so thank you.
Councilmember Altamiller?
I wanted to thank Tom for bringing that to us regarding the Tartaric plant, and just again encourage any citizens that need to say anything. They can call City Hall and ask for any of the council members' voicemail, and always communicate with us that way for sure. And I haven't gotten one voicemail message on that yet, so not one in all this time. I keep pushing this, call my voicemail, but no one does. So that's all I have right now.
I'll call you,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Okay.
Councilmember Radford?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes, just to thank Alan Demo and our police department for the fine job they did a week ago Sunday for our Hogs and Hot Rod show, which everybody had a good time, and we had no problems at all. You did a fine job.
That was fun.
And I have a couple brief items. I also want to thank Alan for this last week. This event was fantastic. Hopefully we'll continue to have this, and this event will continue to get bigger. One of the things that I'd like to ask is that, being that we're coming up on our budget fairly soon, if the council has requests or priorities that they'd like to see done, if we could schedule something probably within the next, well, not this next meeting coming up, but maybe the following meeting after that, to discuss some priorities that maybe individual council members have that they'd like to see get done. You know, I know one of the things that I'm interested in, and Cleve and I have talked about it a little bit, is with regards to sidewalk repair in town, you know, looking at some of the alley improvements and so forth, and downtown parking and things like that. But if we could schedule something like that, and that way, if individual council members have things that they would like to see prioritized when it comes to the budget, that way we could go through your priorities. One brief thing is, one of the other things I'd like to look at as well is with regards to the lawn, when you're going down Driscoll, the way those, you know what I'm talking about, right, Ernie? The way the lawn's set up, as opposed to some of the bushes and everything else. I know that had been commented in the past, how much nicer the lawn is.
Are you talking about on the landscaping where
Yeah.
the sound barrier wall is? Or
Right,
the
where
retaining
the
wall?
lawn is, yeah, as opposed to some of the bushes. And I know there's been a number of comments as far as how much better that looks, and I imagine how much easier it is to maintain. And if that's something, I wouldn't mind having us look at all of our landscape and lighting districts in town, down Upper Road, finishing up right there down Driscoll Avenue, and some of the others that we have, and just looking at it purely from aesthetics and cost, and if we could bring that back at some point to look at that.
Mayor, if I might suggest on the budget items, if council members have those, what would probably work best for us is if you could get those to me so that we can start preparing some cost estimates and some things to bring those back to you even before the meeting. And then we can bring those back as part of the budget deliberations, budget process, so that at that time you can have all the information that you need. So if council members have projects or priorities, if you would just get those to me, either bring me a note or call me on the phone, leave it on my voicemail, stop me when you see me, whatever, and let me know. That, I think that would be the way that would work best, and we can begin preparing the information to look at those projects.
You know, quite a while back we had a town hall meeting where citizens provided input on the projects they'd like to see happen in the community. And if we could get that as a refresher, that list of, you know, just to jog
Was that the one
memory.
when I was here?
No, it was
prior to me?
your
Okay.
meeting. Yes.
I would be more interested in what, Sheila's saying, because individually we have, but I'd rather be doing what the community wants as a whole, try to.
Right. Well, that's
meet
part of the
their-
process
But I
as well. I
think-
mean, we'll hear
Yeah.
comments when we're out
No, I
and about
understand.
as far as
But
And
all
we're,
those
we're
things-
expressing what
yeah.
they feel anyway. But
Right.
Those things that Charles mentioned, you know, I believe the community also mentioned as a priority, but I know that we prioritized those things at that workshop, but I'd like to just refresh my mind, what were the priorities?
Yeah, it
for
would
that?
be good.
We will see if we can find that and put it in your boxes as soon as possible. If we can find it, I see Judy shrugging over there. Hopefully we can find it and get that to you.
Okay. And one last thing is just to remind the public, the meeting with the school board is on
Thursday night, and that's at 6 o'clock.
at the LJ Newman building, 6 o'clock, the joint meeting with the school district and the city. And the last thing is, for those who are at home watching this tomorrow night, is in case you might have tuned in late, the city manager and I will be having a meeting with regards to Tatarik manufacturing on Wednesday, and we will schedule a report and some input on the meeting of the May 11th. And also, I'll ask the city manager to address a letter to the residents of Newman to go to the newspaper with an update and of the meeting and a report, and just to give the citizens and make sure that they have the number at City Hall. That way, if they need to contact either Cleve or if they want to leave individual messages on any of our voicemails, that we give them that information. So we will keep the citizens informed as to what's going on. And with that, if there are no other questions, can we have an adjournment if there are no other questions?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say it by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.